She looking at something in her hands or nothing, just down. When she speaks, it's almost to herself first. I almost didn't go. That's the thing I keep coming back to. I almost didn't go to that thing. That one Tuesday evening in 1987 when I was tired and the weather was bad and I had 100 reasons to just stay home. And I went anyway. Not because I had a feeling about it. Not because something told me to. Just because I'd said I would and I didn't like going back on my word. And the person I met that night changed the entire direction of my life. Not in a movie way, not immediately, just a conversation that led to a door, that led to a room I never would have found otherwise. And everything that came after that, came after that. And I think about the version of me that stayed home. She existed for a whole 30 seconds while I was putting on my coat, deciding. And she had no idea what she was about to miss. She looks up now. We talk about life-changing decisions like they announce themselves, like there's music, like you feel the weight of the moment when you're inside it, like the big choices come wearing signs. They don't. The decisions that shape a life almost never feel significant when you're making them. They feel like Tuesday. They feel like nothing. They feel like a small yes or a small no that probably doesn't matter much either way. And that is the thing I want to sit with today. Not the big declarations, the small ones, the ones that didn't feel like decisions at all. The first kind of small decision is the one you make about yourself. Not once, continuously. Every time something happens and you decide what it means about who you are. You try something and it doesn't work and you decide, I'm not good at this. Or you decide, not yet, try again. Somebody treats you badly and you decide, this is what I deserve. Or you decide, this is not acceptable and I will not stay where I'm not valued. You make a mistake and you decide, I am the mistake. Or you decide, I made a mistake and I can do different. Those decisions are small in the moment. They feel like just a thought, just a reaction. But they are not just a thought. They are the slow construction of a self-concept. And a self-concept, once built, becomes the lens through which every other decision gets made. The person who decided early that they weren't good enough will make different choices for their entire life than the person who decided they were worth something. Not because life handed them different circumstances, because they are operating from different foundational beliefs about who they are. And most people don't know they made that foundational decision. They just think that's who they are. They don't know it was a conclusion, that it was built, that it can be rebuilt. Second kind, the small decision about who you let stay. Not who you fall for, not who you choose dramatically, who you let stay. Because most of the time, people don't arrive in your life as a decision. They arrive as a circumstance, a coworker, a neighbor, somebody's friend at somebody's thing. And then at some point, so quietly you barely register it, you make a small decision to keep them close, to answer the call, to make the plan, to let them in a little further. That small decision repeated becomes one of the most significant relationships of your life. And the inverse is also true. The person you slowly stop making room for. The friendship you let thin out not with a decision but with a series of small non-decisions. The person you meant to call back. The relationship you let drift because there was always something else. You didn't decide to lose them. You just decided 1,000 small times that other things were more pressing. And one day they were just gone. And the loss is real even though you can't find the moment it happened. Who you let stay and who you let go. Most of that happens in small moments that feel like nothing. And it shapes a life more than almost anything else. This last one is the one she came here to say. Third kind of small decision. The one you make about what you're willing to feel. Stay with me here because this one is easy to misread. I'm not talking about being positive or choosing happiness or any of that. I'm talking about something more specific. There are people who, somewhere along the way, made a quiet decision to stop feeling the hard things, to get through, to push past, to stay functional. And they got good at it, real good. Got so good at it that feeling became something that happened to other people. And on the surface, that looks like strength. Looks like resilience. And there was probably a time when it was both of those things, when shutting down was survival. But survival decisions have a way of becoming permanent if you don't revisit them. And the person who decided to stop feeling the hard things eventually stops feeling the good things too, because it's all connected. You can't selectively numb. You close down one door and you close them all. And now they're in a life that looks full. Good job, people around them, everything in its place, and they feel nothing. Not misery, not even sadness, just this flat, gray nothing. And they made that. Not on purpose, not with malice, with 1,000 small decisions to push through instead of feel through. She leans back, quieter now. 3 decisions, none of them dramatic. None of them wearing signs. What you decide about yourself when things go wrong. Who you decide to keep making room for. What you decide you're willing to sit with and feel. That's it. That's where so much of a life gets built or dismantled. Not in the big moments, in the small ones you barely remember making. And the thing about small decisions is they can go the other way too. That's what I want you to leave here with. If the small ones built something that isn't serving you, the belief you took on too early, the people you let drift, the feeling you taught yourself not to feel, then small ones can also start to rebuild it. Not one big reversal, not a dramatic turnaround, just a small decision on a Tuesday. When you're tired and it doesn't feel like it matters, that's where it starts. She looks back down, almost didn't go.